Hey guys, welcome back. This is Token Guy doing another DLMM video on Meteora. We are looking at some more advanced strategies in this video. So we're going to take a look at what that'll look like with Sol USDC. This is obviously can be translated over to any other pairing of coins that you would use, but we're going to focus on this one today. And so we've already gone over kind of what everything means and how to set up a pool. So we'll go ahead and do that right now. We're going to do 2000 USDC and we're going to look at Sol here. So what we're looking at is different strategies that you can do. And so when you're looking at different strategies here, you have three different options to set up your pool. You have spot, curve, and bid ask. And so spot here is just a general all around good strategy to use. And the reason why is because it splits the amount of money that you have evenly distributed across all of the pools. That means if you're unsure of how the token is going to move, whether you think it's going to move up or down, it may move and drastically go up and then drastically come down. It could move drastically up, hang out there for a little while, then come down. It could do a lot of different things. And so if you're unsure about what you think it's going to do, which I think is the most of us for the most case, then spot is just a general all around good strategy to do, whether it's in a bear market, a bull market, whether the market, there's a high volume, low volume, it's just good all around strategy. The curve is one that I use the least amount. This one can be good, but as it states here, it's great for like stable pairs. And so if you think that a token's not going to move very far from the price it's currently at, then you want to focus a lot of your liquidity in the middle. So that's when you would use the curve strategy. And bid ask is the opposite of that. And so a bid ask strategy means where you enter at, you think it's not going to stay near that price, but you actually think it's going to be drastically moving to either side. And so you'd want to concentrate your liquidity on the ends. Now, normally bid ask is done in another way, which I'll explain in just a moment. And so this is kind of the three different options for what you can set up. And you may do this different depending on the coin and what it's doing at the time. Another aspect, though, is doing one-sided pools. And this is important because you can do this for a few different ways. And so let's say instead we don't autofill, right? And so I could come here and I could set up a Sol pool. And now this is Sol USDC. So in this instance, Sol is on the top side here. And so you can see that I have 8.79 Sol in. And so instead of having it on the USDC side, it's just on the upside. And so that means that if the token were to move down, I would be immediately out of range. I would immediately be out because there's no liquidity that's provided here. And so if I'm created a one side, basically I'm estimating or hoping that the token will just go up. And so as it does, I'll have all my liquidity concentrated here. And as it moves up, my pool will switch from Sol to both Sol and USDC. Now you can do a one-sided spot strategy like this, similarly to how explained with the two-sided, where it's split evenly across. But many times whenever people are doing a one-sided pool, the whole goal of it is to DCA in or out. DCA meaning dollar cost average. And so every time the price of it moves up, we're basically selling the token on the way up to where once it's fully done, we'll no longer have this 8.79 Sol, but we'll have a bunch of USDC. The total value of our pool will actually be worth more because we're selling it as it goes up in value. But we won't have any Sol left. We'll just have the USDC. And so you can imagine that on a spot here, it'll be split pretty even. But if we're expecting the token to pump pretty well, pretty hard, then a bid ask strategy might actually be better. And the reason why is because as the token moves up, we'll only sell a little bit at a time close to the price it currently is. And the further it moves away as it moves up, we're actually going to sell more and more on the way up. And so we'll end up having more money overall in USDC than we would Sol by the time this gets out of here, because most of the liquidity is concentrated near the end. Now, with this in mind, if it does stay close here, you won't earn as much fees as you would if it moves out further this way. And so this is if you're doing one-sided on the way up. You could also do this on the way down. So let's say we're providing $5,000 and we're doing it on the way down. And so in this case, this is good as well. And so let's say we have USDC, but we want to buy Solana and we think that the price of Solana is going to go down. Again, we could do like a spot or a bid ask here. In this instance, I'm going to look at bid ask. And so as the price drops, we'll start to exchange it out. But the more and more it drops, the more we'll end up buying towards the end and the more fees we'll earn towards the end because the liquidity is concentrated down here. This is also a safer play because you can imagine if the token ends up dropping only a little bit here, then we're not, before moving back up, we're only buying so much of it as it moves down, whereas you won't buy most of it until later on. And so if you set it up this way and you decide halfway through that you want to shift your strategy, you haven't bought nearly as much right here as you would have if you let it continue to drop. And so many times you can actually let a token come all the way down, gain fees, let it come all the way back out. And once it comes all the way back out, you'll be left with your 5,000, but you would have claimed some fees along the way also. So these are just some different strategies that you can look at. You could obviously also do a bid ask double-sided as well. But that's looking at the one-sided pool. Again, the curve pool is one that I use very seldom, and it's usually when I think the price of a token is going to stay really, really close. Also, instead of just doing a curve, I could just set up a spot, and then I could just concentrate my liquidity like this by reducing the range, which is a similar situation to doing curve, except with curve, you'll stay in the pool just a little bit longer than you would if you did this. But I would much rather do like a spot strategy and just reduce the range here. Another thing is that if you're active in a coin and you are actively able to watch it, you could actually come in and depending on your bin step and your fee and everything, you could come in and do this where you reduce the range. And so you may need to rebalance your pool more often. But by doing this, by reducing your range, you're going to be able to earn more fees. And so if you think that the price is actually going to stay fairly close or fairly tight for a little while, then you can reduce your range, earn a lot of fees. And then as it starts to move out, you can close out of it and rebalance it as well. So that's another great example of being able to capitalize on the fees. Now, whenever we're looking at other coins, when we're looking at meme coins or coins that are a little bit higher risk, I want to look at that as well. So let's look at ARK here. We're going to just look at this 100 bin 1% here. And so in instances like this, obviously with Sol USDC, we were just on the 20 bin. But if you're looking at meme coins, you're going to want to have a higher bin step unless we're looking at really high market cap coins. But if you're looking at trying to earn a higher percentage, we're talking about 20, 30, 50% a day on some of these coins that are higher risk, then you're going to want to have something that's closer to 100 or 200 bin step, and the fee structure is probably going to be like 1 or 2% most likely. When that's the case, it makes sense when you're on a meme coin that's a lower market cap. So this coin is roughly 40, 50 million market cap right now. And so the risk of it going up and down is pretty high compared to one that's like a 500 million market cap. And so in that case, you want to have a higher fee, which you can see here, 1% is higher than like the 0.2% we just saw on Sol USDC. And you want a higher bin step like 100 or even 200. Sometimes I have a higher bin step to allow for a wider range. And I do that because I actually just want it to be safer. I'm actually not even necessarily believing that I'm going to use all the liquidity, but by having it at a wider range like this, it allows me to sit on the token longer as it moves up and down and gives me a little more leeway. Also, as it moves down, if I think it's going to continue to move down, I can close out of the pool. And because I had it in a wider range and my liquidity was split more evenly throughout, or I split less throughout the pool, then once it gets here, I still have a lot of liquidity left, so I can close out of it and I won't have lost as much as if I had it in a much tighter range. So you can imagine if I did like this and the token drops, by the time it gets here, well, my 50,000 or sorry, my 11.7 Sol is going to be bought up much quicker than it would be if I extended the range out this way. So you kind of have to make that decision for yourself based on the meme coin that you're choosing. And so that's just of the more advanced strategies, whether you're using something like Sol USDC or you decide to use a meme coin. Normally, again, lower market cap coins that are more risky, you want a higher percent base fee and a higher bin step to handle a lot of the volatility and the large price swings. And then as you move up in market cap, anything that's like 100 million or 100 million market cap or more, you'll start to see that fee structure come down and those bin steps start to tighten a little bit depending on volatility and volume still. But that's kind of the general case that we see. Hopefully y'all learned something and we'll see y'all in the next video. Thank y'all again for watching.